You are smarter than this. You've been around, you've interviewed a lot of people. You know this world better than I do. You've talked to Trump many, many times. You have a relationship with him. It's actually a very entertaining relationship that's up and down, and then you go to Charlemagne the God and you defend him in a different way. I love your relationship with him. It's very fascinating, truly. But, Piers, you know Putin's not going to do shit to Poland if Trump's the president, because when an alpha and an alpha get in a room and they negotiate, there's a fair level of respect and admiration for each other. We can look at case study. The great thing about what I love the 2024 elections for is the following. Here's why I love the case study of what we have today. I think it's going to be used for decades, if not centuries to come. And here's what the case study is. We can now officially, Piers, say we had 4 years of Trump administration, okay, to look at, and we have almost 4 years of Biden to look at. We can compare economy to economy, peace to peace, wars to wars, unemployment to unemployment. We can look at every single thing. And there is zero proof from those who are skeptical on your end, worried about the fact that Putin's going to attack Poland, that Trump would allow something like that to happen, because it never happened under his regime during the 4 years that was there. We feared ISIS. When's the last time you used the word ISIS? We feared, this guy went after Qasem Soleimani, who was supposed to be the number 2, number 3 guy in the world in Iran, and potentially was going to run Iran. And he was a leader of all these guys behind closed doors, all these proxy wars. You killed that guy? That's kind of like in the mob family. You think about back in the days, you go and you kill Ben Siegel. You go kill the main guys. That you don't do something like that. He did. That's what Trump did. Audacity, risk at the highest level. You went after a guy like that? I did. Everyone in the marketplace says, okay.
Patrick Bet-David absolutely demolishes Piers Morgan in this debate after Piers Morgan says some insanely woke things live on Piers Morgan Uncensored. Let's get into this clip here from Valuetainment and the PBD Podcast of Patrick Bet-David absolutely demolishing Piers Morgan in this very, very heated debate.
Go ahead and play this clip at the end, because Piers is obviously a guy. We have very good conversations. He had you on. You crushed it when you were on last week or 2 weeks ago. And when it comes down to Ukraine, we'll have our own debates, and he'll always bring that up. And this is a moment as well that we got into a little bit. Go ahead and play this clip.
Giving Putin the land that he's taken, and say he does that, and say that you're wrong about Putin. Say that it turns out he does have imperialistic ambitions beyond what people think he has, and that emboldened by America's retreat, not just there, but also Afghanistan and so on, he's watched how America's conducted itself on the foreign stage. Say he then does attack somewhere like Poland, which is a NATO country. What then?
Your face is hilarious.
Piers, you are smarter than this. You've been around, you've interviewed a lot of people. You know this world better than I do. You've talked to Trump many, many times. You have a relationship with him. It's actually a very entertaining relationship that's up and down, and then you go to Charlemagne the God and you defend him in a different way. I love your relationship with him. It's very fascinating, truly. But, Piers, you know Putin's not going to do shit to Poland if Trump's the president, because when an alpha and an alpha get in a room and they negotiate, there's a fair level of respect and admiration for each other. We can look at case study. The great thing about what I love the 2024 elections for is the following. Here's why I love the case study of what we have today. I think it's going to be used for decades, if not centuries to come. And here's what the case study is. We can now officially, Piers, say we had 4 years of Trump administration, okay, to look at, and we have almost 4 years of Biden to look at. We can compare economy to economy, peace to peace, wars to wars, unemployment to unemployment. We can look at every single thing. And there is zero proof from those who are skeptical on your end, worried about the fact that Putin's going to attack Poland, that Trump would allow something like that to happen, because it never happened under his regime during the 4 years that was there. We feared ISIS. When's the last time you used the word ISIS? We feared, this guy went after Qasem Soleimani, who was supposed to be the number 2, number 3 guy in the world in Iran, and potentially was going to run Iran. And he was a leader of all these guys behind closed doors, all these proxy wars. You killed that guy? That's kind of like in the mob family. You think about back in the days, you go and you kill Ben Siegel. You go kill the main guys. That you don't do something like that. He did. That's what Trump did. Audacity, risk at the highest level. You went after a guy like that? I did. Everyone in the marketplace says, okay, guess what? You ever seen the movie American Gangster?
Yeah.
You know, with Denzel Washington?
Yeah.
You remember that scene when he's sitting at the cafeteria and he's sitting there with his cousins. Their cousins are just starting to realize that Frank Lucas has become a powerful guy. He sees a guy down the street. He says he gets up, he walks out, goes to the guy, puts the hat down. He says, "Where's my 10%?" The guy laughs at him. He takes him out. Cousins, everybody sees him. He comes back, sits down, wipes his hands, has the breakfast, and they start having a conversation together. Trump did that to Qasem Soleimani on a world stage. On the world stage.
Love that laugh.
Do you know what level of audacity that takes? Who has that kind of audacity? Not a lot of people. He did. That could have been risky because to some of us, we're like, if Iran retaliates, you have the right to now retaliate. They took out your number one general. They didn't. Strength is one way to lead, and when America is strong, fortunately, the world is at peace. When America is not strong like we are today, the world is not at peace.
It's true.
Patrick Bet-David, always great to talk to you.
It's 100% facts from PBD there. This is not just about an America thing. And obviously, America, we have a ton of problems under Joe Biden and under Kamala Harris. And if Kamala does get elected over Trump, the problems are just going to get worse and worse. But also, this is a global thing. Like, if Kamala Harris gets elected, if Donald Trump loses this next election, like Patrick Bet-David just said to Piers Morgan, around the world, the chaos is going to break out around the world like we've never seen it before. Like, it's really bad already. There's wars popping up left and right. And also, America has its hands in a lot of these wars, which I don't like. And I would hope, I don't have that much hope, but I would, I really hope that Donald Trump would pull us out of some of these wars, but probably not going to happen. But there's wars popping up left and right because everybody views America as weak right now. And America is supposed to be, you know, the world superpower, somewhat of a peacekeeper around the world. And I know that a lot of people are going to be like, oh, America has never been a peacekeeper. But when America is strong, countries like China and Russia and these people, they don't mess with our allies. They don't mess with people who they feel like America might retaliate in a certain way whenever you do mess with them. Only when they feel like America is strong, though. When you have somebody who's a senile president, when you have someone like Kamala Harris, who is in charge of the border and can't even stop people from invading her own country, of course, they're not going to be scared about attacking countries that she isn't even the president or vice president of. They're not going to be scared of attacking allies and invading their borders because Kamala Harris can't even stop people from invading our own border. And Kamala Harris can't even stop people from, you know, all the crime happening across the country and the economy. You know, it's like we can't even control what's happening in our own country. So why would they be intimidated by the current regime? Whereas when Donald Trump was president, he was handling situations in a whole lot better way. Like Patrick Bet-David just said to Piers Morgan, he humiliated ISIS on a world scale, on a world stage. He put everybody in their place. He put everybody on notice. Apparently, there was some crazy moments with Vladimir Putin where he said, if you invade Ukraine, I'm going to turn Moscow into a crater or something like that. And it didn't happen. It didn't happen until Donald Trump lost or until Joe Biden took office, if you want to put it that way. The Patrick Bet-David is spot on, man. Let's see what else he has to say here.
Bingo.
And hear your perspective. Thank you very much indeed.
Likewise.
It's the problem we got today. Everybody feels bold to go and do whatever they want to do. So if you got a guy like that in the House, do you think that would be happening today if Trump was president? You think this is what's happening today?
Are you crazy?
No, you brought up movies, and I think movies mimic reality so well. And when I think of Iran and I think of Israel right now, I think of that scene in Indiana Jones where the guy in the black is waving the sword around.
Just takes out
and
the gun.
Indiana Jones just looks at him because he's tired. Indiana Jones has been fighting and running away from bad guys. He's tired. He's sweaty. He just draws and
shoots him. Yeah.
And it was very quick. I mean, and that's what I feel like is right now. There's a lot of people that they call it saber rattling for a reason. It's like rattling the saber to remind people that you've got a sword. But then you have people that look at you and say, "Are you going to use that? You're not going to use that. You're not going to take this out."
One part that I thought was super interesting, by the way, awesome. Just when you laugh like that, you know you made a point. But you talked about who's in your ear. You talk about this all the time. Who's in your ear? Something very interesting, and we talked about these articles. You know, it's who's in your ear above you, who's in your ear next to you, and who's also in your ear below you. You know, we make assumptions like who's in the Islamic Republic of Iran's ear above them. Well, maybe China. They've invested into Iran how many billions of dollars?
$400 billion over 25 years.
Insane amount of money.
Yeah.
Possibly Russia. They're selling them weapons. But who's in their ear below them motivating the mullahs of Iran to do something about it? Well, they said in this article here, it's the Houthi rebels basically saying, look, we're doing all this chaos in the sea. Where are you at? Where you at, mullahs? What are you going to do here? The theocrats, the Islamics running Iran, do something about it. So whether it's the Houthis or the Triple H crew, the Hamas, Hezbollah's, Houthis saying, come on, help us out here. Whether it's the pirates at sea, whether it's the Shiite militias.
You're right.
They're in their ear.
By the way, Iran is the...
If you enjoy content like this, then make sure you leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help me out a ton. Let's get back to the video.
biggest destabilizer of the world.
Yes.
They're the biggest exporter of terrorism in the world.
Yes.
Name me somebody more. Now, I know people who don't like America. The first country they're going to throw on the... America. Really? Yeah. Okay. Do you know what Iran's misery index right now is? It's 61.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what it was 6 years ago? 30. It's gone from 30 to 61. Do you know what
actually higher now, by the way.
Do you know what their corruption
73
today? Do you know what Iran's corruption index is? Corruption index out of 180 countries, they're ranked 148.
Oh.
You know what the world average score is? World is 43.
Where are we at?
Do you know Middle East average is 34? North Africa's average is 34. You know what Iran's average is? 24.
Robin,
The level of corruption in Iran. The people of Iran are fed up, but they're afraid of what 80% of people in Iran. Dude, can you imagine? Like, imagine you are Iranian.
Okay.
And your country is in this thing called World Cup. And your country is facing off a team. You know who they're playing against? U.S. And imagine you as an Iranian don't want Iran to win because you don't want the government to get the victory of beating your number one enemy, which is U.S. And you're living in Iran.
Wow.
Did you understand what I just said right there?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's kind of like Michael Jordan's son rooting for his dad to get hurt.
Yeah.
It's insane.
That's the weirdest thing to see. So that means you are losing your people. And some people who are, unfortunately, they have a certain level of hate for America. I understand because of what you've been fed. I get it. I was a guy that lived in Iran. For 10 years as a kid, I was told America is the most evil empire in the world. I was told that for many, many years. No problem. I'm not sitting here telling you, you know, we don't have a reputation of what we've done.
Of course. You can't put
At
that
the
aside.
same time, you name a country that's positively impacted the world for the better. No one even comes close to this country called America.
Not even
It's
close.
not even close.
Not even close.
It's not even close.
It isn't even, and to hear that from someone like Patrick Bet-David, and like, dude, so many people who come here who are immigrants come from all over the place. Whether it's Patrick Bet-David coming from Iran, whether it's even Piers Morgan, dude, who doesn't live in the United States. I don't think he lives here. He's definitely not from here. He'll even admit that no one has a more positive impact on the entire globe than America. And yeah, America does some evil things. The government does some evil things. Of course, all governments do across the globe. But you hear people who come from Mexico, who come from Guatemala, who come from literally everywhere, come to the United States and say, man, in our country, exactly what PBD just said. In our country, we were fed that America is the most evil place on earth, the most evil empire on earth. They do so much harm. But when we get here and we learn the truth, and we're able to compare, because obviously America has propaganda too, but if you compare the American propaganda and then take the propaganda of your home country, put them together, zoom out and look unbiasedly, however you say that, at the information that's put in front of you, you start to realize, hold on, America has done so much good around the world. America has actually done so much good. So all these people from within the United States who burn the American flag and, you know, kneel during the national anthem or say that they just hate America and they like to support certain causes because it's like anti-America. You know, there's a ton of people out there, and I'm not a fan of either side in this Middle East war. I hope they both lose, honestly. But there's a lot of people out there who choose the side of Palestine because they just want to be anti-American, and they want to be anti-American at every single chance they can possibly get. They know that America is allied with Israel, so they want to choose Palestine and ally with them because they get to be edgy and get to be anti-American for another cause. And those types of people make me sick because they have no idea how good they have it. It's always the most privileged people that take those stances. You know, it's ridiculous. Let me know in the comments what you think about Patrick Bet-David going on Piers Morgan and absolutely demolishing him when talking about all the chaos around the world. It gets pretty heated, but obviously Patrick Bet-David, in my opinion, came out on top. Let me know in the comments who you think won this debate between Piers Morgan and Patrick Bet-David here on this PBD podcast episode.